In the strategy mapping, uh, what we generally do is like uh, we have our business strategy at the top. Okay, so this is your business level, right? Your business level. You have your business strategy, overall strategy, right? Overall strategy, right? And then under this business, you have different functions, maybe your HR, maybe your finance, right? So you have your HR here, and you have your finance here, you have your operations here, and, and you have your marketing here, and you have your R&D here, and then you have your ID here. So likewise, you have functions. So that we have functional level strategies, right? We call functional strategies. Okay. And then under each functions, we have sub activities, right? We have different sub activities under HR. What we have is it might be recruitment and selection, it may be job analyst, it might be job design, HR planning, RIS. So likewise, we have all these sub activities under the functional strategy. So, right? So, it might be learning strategy, uh, it might be reward strategy, right? So, I will include reward management strategy, or it might be employee relations strategy, ER strategy, right? Now, what I told was we have to make sure that our these three levels, right? These three levels are fit, link each other, right? HR has to be cascading down to, sorry, business strategy has to be cascading down to HR strategy. And the HR strategy has to cascade down to learning strategy, reward management strategy, ER strategy, like that. And also, on the other hand, uh, when other hand, so that learning strategy should serve the HR strategy. HR strategy should serve the business strategy. It's like top to bottom and bottom up, both, right? Two-way alignment has to be there, right? So that is what we call strategy mapping, right? That is what we call strategy mapping. We should be able to do this, right? We should be able to do this. So that this is how it is usually reflected. We have first the business strategy, then the HR strategy, and the L&D strategy, right? So hope that the theoretical understanding is with you now. Now we'll do the exercise to make this further understand, right? Write down this exercise. Right. So try to do this one. This is the actual scenario. Try to do this one, please. So you need to find what is business strategy, what is HR strategy, what is learning and development strategy. Then I will have a look. Please do it. The overall theme of your workforce. What type of, what nature of, what style of workforce is required to my business. So that is the overall HR theme. What is the overall expectation of your workforce? That is your strategy. Maybe, for example, IT company who is focusing on offering new solutions to your customers, right? As a business strategy, your business strategy is offering innovations for your customers, high-end customers. So that your HR should be innovative oriented, right? So your HR strategy should be innovative oriented workforce. So likewise, if you want to increase sales, expand your market share, then what type of HR strategy you should have?
With sales and cross-selling services.
The workforce should be cross-selling easy. මොනවගේ workforce එකක්ද අපිට ඕන? අනිත් අය කොහොමද girls ලා ගොඩාක් හිටියා කතා කරන අද නැද්ද ඒගොල්ලන්? මොන වගේ HR employees ලාද අපිට ඕන sales expand කරන්න නම්? මොන වගේ workforce එකක්ද අපිට ඕන?
Marketing
incentives and
marketing oriented. හරි ඊට වඩා
Start.
අපිට everyone should be
with good
brief
personality.
about the new.
okay. So I will have this time. Next time we have to do sales oriented work.
Service.
Sales oriented workforce. That's your
Sales
chance.
representatives.
Sales oriented workforce. The overall theme of the HR. Okay. මේ learning strategy කියන එක දන්නවා. learning strategy කියන්නේ
Conduct sales related trainings. Or
ඒකට අපි learning strategies හතරක් ඉගෙන ගත්තනේ පුතේ. There were 4 strategies we learned. So what we should include here?
Customer relationship. Customer relationship.
No. මේක මේ අපේ ටික. මේකේ මොනවද ඕන? Make a learning strategies. මොකද ඕනේ මේකෙන්?
Upskilling.
Skilling and upskilling. Very good. Skilling and upskilling. Right? Skilling and upskilling. Right? මෙන්න මෙහෙම තියෙන්න ඕනේ. So that this is a first scenario. Right? හරි. එතකොට so that overall theme is the sales oriented workforce and we have upskilling and skilling and upskilling as the learning strategies. හරි. දැන් ඕගොල්ලන් මේක අලුත් new situation. මොකද්ද business strategy එක now after freezing the sales and how these are now changing. දැන්
Service
කරන්න බලන්න.
oriented. Become service
And-
oriented now. Like
Okay. Service orientation. Service orientation. Service prioritization. Prioritization. Honey. HR strategy එක? HR?
customer relationship.
Everyone customer relationship, is it? What talent is required here? You to be service oriented. So that if you want to increase
Technical-
sales,
Technical
very
and
good, very good. Technically competent work.
yeah.
Like that, very good. You got it. Technically competent workforce. L&D strategy? L&D strategy?
And the scaling. So then
Reskilling.
Reskilling, very good. Very good. Reskilling. Right? Because they have to forget that they have to unlearn their sales orientation and they had to relearn their technical. Because there were no sales who were doing the sales jobs at the what we call display units or the sales demonstration or whatever. They have now reskilled to service in the workshops, right? So that their sales capabilities was unlearned and their technical capabilities was introduced. So that reskilling was the learning strategy you want to use here, right? So that I got these two scenarios for you to understand this transition, right? So earlier it was like this, right? Now, when the situation change, you have to change it, right? When the situation change, you have to change it, right? So always, now earlier, this is kind of a slow change, right? Where really change, right? Your strategy really change. For example, if you are least cost provider, it will be forever the least cost, right? If we are a quality provider, quality will be, for a long time it will be. Now it's not like that, right? It changes very quickly, right? So that, what happened with the now Sri Lankan company, let's say Sri Lankan apparel company, right? So that we are giving everyone least cost, right? Now, what happened during this crisis period? The raw material price is really gone up. The cost is really gone up. So you cannot even think of giving in the least cost, right? So that you might change. So that you might think of giving some premium products, right? So likewise, when you it changes quickly, right? Compared to the earlier, the change is more shorter. Therefore, HR and the learning strategy should be flexible enough to accommodate these strategical changes, right? Now I give you one more as a homework, right? Write down this homework. A medium scale apparel manufacturer was providing garment for all at the least price. However, due to the change in the cost structure, offering a least cost item become that impossible. Therefore, the company decided to offer customized products for end cut, right? Outline the learning strategy map. Okay, right. So do this as a homework.
Excuse me, madam. Excuse me, madam.
Yes, yes, Putin.
Sorry, ma'am. Quick question. In that previous one, would you mind repeating why, when we are turning to service orientation, the requirement is to become technically competent?
What is service orientation, Putin?
Focused on the customer service as opposed to just the product.
No. So this is Stafford Motors. What type of a company is it? Stafford Motors. So what type of a company is it? Honda company එකකද මොනවද මේ sell කරන්නේ?
Yeah.
ආහන.
Car,
Vehicles.
vehicles, yeah.
Vehicles, motorbikes ඒවා. Motorbikes වල service කියන්නේ මොනවද පුතේ?
Oh, after
Repairs,
sales. After sales.
repairs,
Yes.
accidents, upgrading, regular services. I mean, those are, regular car service means you clean up your engine, you check your chassis. මම දන්නේ මොකක්ද කරන්න කියලා. අන්න ඒව ටිකනේ. ඒක customer orientation එක නෙමෙයි පුතේ. Service කියන්නේ technical service. Auto services. Auto services. මට තේරුණාද?
Yes, madam. So offering that, you need the technical competency then.
Yes.
Okay, okay, madam. Understood.
So that here the service means not the customer service, auto service, auto services like accidents, upgrading, repairs, and the regular auto services, right?
Yes, madam. Got it
Right.
now. Thank you.
Right. So that please do this one at home. Okay. So that now the first part is over. Usually I ask question from the strategy mapping. 5 marks question එකක් අහනවා. So that you should be able to do this strategy mapping. Because it includes learning strategies as well. So that I am testing 2 areas with 1 question. Right? So therefore, please, even you can mark it testing in the exam. Testing in the exam, right? Okay. Now, we are moving to the best part of the learning and development. And this will be definitely tested. Next, what I'm going to talk next, learning strategy design part. So that you want your design thinking to be applied, right? So that will definitely come for your examination. Learning strategy design is the last section that we are going to talk in the lesson, right? Okay. Yes, but now when it comes to learning strategy design, there are so many guidelines. So the learning strategy design, in the sense, in a very simple terms, how do you plan and how do you design or how do you implement a training program, right? So that what are the steps to be followed, right? You as a HR manager, you as a supervisor, right? So you as a responsible person in the organization, how do you do design a training program and then deliver it, and then how do you assess the effectiveness of the program you delivered, right? So that we call learning strategy design, right? Yes, when it's come to this learning strategy design, there's no universally accepted one standard method of learning strategy design, right? There's no standard globally accepted common method, right? Instead, we have different methods, right? Some examples are, we call ADA model. Act, design, plan, ADA model. And then there's another model called 70-20-10 model, right? 70% of learning are coming from the experience, 10% are from the observation, and 20% are from the observation, and 10% are from the these kind of lectures, right? That's also we use. That's also important to know, right? And there is some other models as well. However, we are using here in this class 7-step model of learning design, right? Which is more prescribing, which is more common. When you look at the global businesses, majority of companies are using this model, 7-step model of learning strategy design, as a guide for their learning programs, right? So therefore, we are learning the 7-step model of learning strategy design, right? Now, you can see, Jude, how many steps here in this model? How many steps here?
7.
There are 7.
Right.
Yes. Out of 7, I have yellow highlighted. How many?
3.
3,
3.
right? And why I have yellow highlighted? These 3 are the most critical. And definitely these highlighted 3 steps will be coming for your examination. And I will be thoroughly discussed. Right? Other 4 steps I might go on surface, not go on far away depth. But LNA, learning need assessment, learning methods, and then how do you assess the effectiveness of the learning program you deliver, right? So what tools we can use? So right, so these 3 steps will be discussed thoroughly, learn to the depth, and will be tested in your examination. So therefore, kindly you also highlight, right? You make a note on that. These 3 will be tested, okay? Right. Now we start from our step 1. Learning need assessment. We call it LNA. That's a famous abbreviation. LNA or TNA stand for learning need assessment or training need assessment. LNA. Right. You tell me, what is the need? What is the need? What is a need?
Employees must learn that techniques or strategy to perform their job well. Maybe.
That is a learning need, Jude. Right. I didn't ask you the learning need. Right.
It's a
You just
requirement.
tell me what is the need. Yes, Pudet.
Sorry, madam, it's a requirement for something.
Yeah, it's a
The
requirement.
it's
It's a
the
need.
gap.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is
Yeah, we
essential.
try.
The gap between the current and the required skill.
That I accept. Okay. The gap between the
Current skill and the
expected
required.
status and the current status. Okay. Yeah. Yes. That's a need. Requirement is that, right? So I feel that there is something missing, what I really feel now and what I really wanted, right? Could they remember in a rule of thumb? Rule of thumb කියලා අපි කියන්නේ නිකන් rule of thumb, right? No hard and fast theories, but rule of thumb. අපි කියන eyeballing කියලා තියෙනවා. As a rule of thumb, need is a problem. අපිට තියෙන ඔක්කොම needs problems. හිතලා බලන්න. අපිට financial needs තියෙනවා. Problem. අපිට relationship needs තියෙනවා. Problem. අපිට educational needs තියෙනවා. Problems. Right. So therefore, the simple rule of thumb answer for what is a need is a problem. Right. Do you think about whatever the needs that you have at this moment? It's a problem. Now, I'm sleepy. Right. So yesterday I waked up until midnight. Right. From the morning to afternoon, I had lectures like you. Right. So now I'm exhausted. See? So what I want now is to have a good sleep. Right. But I'm deliberately waking up doing this session. It's a problem. I want to sleep, but I can't sleep. Right. So like you all, I know you the same. Right. So every need is a problem. Right. Problem is a gap. Problem is a gap. Gap is the difference between expected and the actual. Get this very, very clear in your mind, right? So that we came backward, right? We started with need. Need is a problem. right? Problem is a gap. Gap is the difference between expected versus action, right? Expected versus action, right? So now get this chain of events. Right? We call this as the chain of event, right? That define our needs as individuals, right? So therefore, applying this logic, right, the general logic, to learning content, so that we apply the same general logic to the context of learning, and we define learning need as a problem of on a first letter fill කරන්න මේක problem of
Skill.
skills. Very good. Problem of skills, right? Therefore, it is the gap of skill gap of skill gap of actual prevailing skill level and the actual desired skills expectations. Get it? Right? So therefore learning need is a gap between the expected skills and the actual level of needs, which is a skill problem, which is a skill gap. Okay. So that's the gap. Okay. Right. Now, in conducting the learning need assessment, right? LNA, we call LNA abbreviation, right? In conducting the learning need assessment, there are two tools we have to use. 2 steps to be followed, even I can say. 2 steps to be followed. One is learning gap analysis. Learning gap analysis. Number 2, learning level analysis. Learning level analysis. Number 1 is learning gap analysis. Number 2 is learning level analysis. Right? So these are the 2 steps in learning need assessment. Right? Now we will go the learning gap analysis. Now this one is very important because it visualizes the size of the skill gap, right? So that when there is an observation that there is a a learning need, so that we must assess what is the size, whether it's ignorable, whether it is significant, whether it is considerable, whether it is serious, right? So likewise, it depends. The seriousness of attention is based on the size of the skill gap that we illustrate via the gap analysis, right? Hold on. Uh, uh, so that we illustrate via the gap analysis, right? Remember, Bhutte, learning gap analysis is always a visual, right? We don't want to explain it. We don't want to describe it. We just figure it out. We just figurize, we just visualize, and we show the size of the gap, right? Okay, hold on. I don't know what this is. Right, so somebody's asking my residents to submit a handover paper packet. Let's see, right? Okay. So I keep it myself. Not to disturb, right? Now this gap analysis, it is like the standard gap analysis, right? We do in our mathematics or operations management, we do the gap analysis. It is the same gap analysis we do here as well. So it's like this method. We apply the general logics to the context of learning and development, right? It's just know the logic and you apply here, right? Now, gap illustration is like this. මේක හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න. මේක කරන්න ඔයගලට පුළුවන් වෙනවා. You should be able to do this one, right? So this is standard gap illustration. This is the standard gap illustration. Okay. So that you can say standard performance expectation here. Here the employee performance is depicted. Standard performance expectation is what? What is this desired performance or expected performance? So what is that? I mean, how much is that?
Desired performance, madam?
Yes, desired performance. Yes, but they have how much?
100%.
Is it 100%? Is it
92.
90%? 90%. Yeah, but they made a gap. 90%. Now, 100% is there, but you don't expect 100%. Your expectation is 90%. It can be, yeah, it can be. My capacity is 100%, but I have limited to 90%. Right? So that can happen. Right? So that what is the actual performance level?
75%.
Yeah. 75%.
70.
Right? 75%. Right? So that between that we have the training needs gap or the skill gap. We call it skill gap. Right? Here it's the gap training needs, but it's the same as skill gap. So you can see here the considerable gap. This is a serious gap. Right? This is a serious gap. Right? So likewise, we have to illustrate, we have to visualize, we have to draw, right? We have to outline our learning gap in this way, right? In this way, right? Okay. So now I'm giving you one exercise. You have to do it in your own way, right? But I don't know how do I check your books. I don't know, right? So if possible, you take a photograph, send via chat. And මට බලන්න පුළුවන් නැත්නම් මට බලන්න බෑ. හරි මම පොඩි එක්සර්සයිස් එකක් දෙන්නම්. අපි ඒක කරමු. Okay. Exercise learning gap analysis. Exercise visualize the learning gap. Okay. You are the factory manager in a gadget making plant. You expect one factory worker to produce 750 units. However, the recent recent capacity reports show the per worker unit per day is 512 units. Therefore, you need to refer this to the chart to assess whether we need any training program to be developed. Conduct a learning gap analysis. So don't worry about my spelling mistakes. You do it. Make කොහොඳ visualize කරන්න.
Yeah, but it's going to be, madam, it's flip upside down, right? The actual will be 0. No, the actual is a preferred is 0.
Huh?
Preferred is 0.
Preferred is 0.
And actual will be high, which means negative defect. 18%.
And that doesn't make any sense, ne? How do you analyze that? Make it
Otherwise,
that.
we have to go
So,
for like a
yes,
negative.
so that you need to, this has to be meaningful, Pute. You have to make it meaningful. So that way it's correct, but it is not meaningful.
Can we go negative, madam? Like a graph, like a 0 preferred, but like a negative, which means 18%.
මේක හිතන්න ඔය එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන්. මොකක්ද කරන්නේ? මේක, so you need to convert this into a
Negative.
no, not negative. You have to convert this into a මේක මේ ඔයාලා දැන් අල්ලගෙන ඉන්නේ defects වලනේ පුතේ. defects කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? මේක මෙන්න මේකට convert කරන්න. මොකක්ද quality expectation? quality expected level එක මොකද්ද?
0 defect.
Current
No.
quality level is 82%.
Expected quality level is what? Imesha?
0.
100%.
100%.
Okay, 100%. Okay.
Come here, make it 100%. Expected quality level. Expected quality standard. Quality standard 100%.
Madam, current level is 82.
Yes, yes, 100%. And current quality, may hari wali, current quality level, actual quality level, quality metric, quality score නැත්තම් නේද ඔයාලා score කියලා ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Quality score 82%. Hari? Then it makes sense. Then it makes sense. So like this, Right. Now, homework. In your factory, the standard absenteeism rate is 96, so 4%. However, recently it has gone up to 22%. Identify the learning gap. Okay, so do this as homework. Right. Now, is the gap analysis clear? Is the learning gap analysis clear to you?
Yes, madam. Now got it.
Okay. Now we will go to learning level analysis. Second step of the learning gap, learning need analysis. Second step of the learning need analysis, we call it learning level analysis. Here, there, what happened? Now we identify that there's a skill gap. No, that's a skill gap. But we are not sure whether this is exactly a training matter. Certain things are not training matters. For example, defects, right? Here, but then now when it's come to defects, we cannot straight away point the finger. We are dropping the quality and we are rising with the defects is because of the employee skill gaps. May not be. Maybe it is because of 100% the machinery. Failure in the machinery. Failure in the machinery. Right? So therefore, it might be a process problem. It might be a environmental condition. Right? It might be a decision-making issue even. So therefore, at the level analysis, our purpose of doing the level analysis is to make sure the skill gap that we identified is exactly a matter of training, right? Where to confirm there is a training concern, we conduct level analysis, right? So I'll tell you one example. This is the actual example. When I was doing my PhD, I was worked in a consultancy team as well in my university in Canberra. There's a auto service provider, NRMA. So I don't know what the long stand for. NRMA. ඒක අපේ කැම්පස් එක ළඟ තිබ්බ පොඩි auto service එකක්. ඒගොල්ලන් ඉන්නවා New South Wales, Canberra region. So they are there. What happened when the regular car services and the car repairs are coming, the technicians or the mechanics used to fix the tires. ඒගොල්ලෝ tire ගලවනවා, ඒව මායි දානවා, නැත්නම් අලුතෙන් tire දානවා තියෙනවා. Fix these tires manually. A heavy job there. Takes time. Right? So you need to unloose the nails and then refix it. So there's a long way to do it, right? So it takes time. So now what happened was the company introduced a automated tire fixing machine. So that tire is taken to the machine and the vehicle was placed, and then the machine can do the tire fixing instead of the mechanic, so that you can reduce the service time, you can do it properly. So that it was installed. You know what happened? At the very beginning, in the first phase, 90% of the new tires got damaged. It was a huge cost. Even Australia, the tire prices are high, right? So that when they were first time using this tire fixing machine, 90% of them damaged, right? What they want, they have to give new one. Right? You have to give new one. Right? You have to give new one. So it was a huge cost. Right? It was a huge cost. Right? Now we were asked to come and do an analysis where the problem is. Right? So they actually wanted us to decide on a training program to the mechanics. Right? So when we were doing this training gap analysis and the level analysis, now the gap analysis is serious. 90% of the tires get damaged. Now the gap is there. Now in the second phase, we are going for level analysis to check whether this is a training problem of the mechanics. අපි ඒකදී හොයාගත්තා tires get damaged because of the problem in the manual. Right? The manual, mixed up one step. Right? So the sequence of the steps given in the manual is making the jam, and finally it is the cause for tire to be damaged because we are not properly sequentially going with the steps. It's a problem. It's a problem in the manual, not with the mechanic. Right? So that we revealed it and we validated it, right? And then still the company wanted to make sure that attention to detail part. It's not the skill gap. I mean the individual skill gap. When you are following the manual, right? Following the manual, attention to detail, double checking, checklist was introduced, right? So earlier there was no checklist. Earlier there was no step 1 done, it's 2 done, 3 done, 4 done, ready to go. So that kind of attention to detail was not there among the mechanics. But we made we suggested it later delivered it, the training on that, right? So now here in this problem, 90% tires get damaged. 80, it's entirely a problem on the manual, right? So therefore, in the level analysis, what we do, we make sure the skill gap is due to the individual skill deficiencies or any other matter. If it is a other matter, we go with sorting the other matter, we stop training there, right? So sometimes what happens, it may be partly due to learning or training, right? So it is not entirely training matter, yes, but it is a partly, right? Then also we go with learning design. We also go with learning design. If it is a partly contributing or fully contributing, we go with the learning design. If it is not, we stop our process there. Yeah. In the learning level analysis, there are 3 levels that we consider. One is organizational level, right? For example, some learning needs or the skill gaps are organizational level. For example, customer complaints, organization. Customer orientation, People's Bank customer orientation. People's Bank customer orientation. It's a organizational matter. Everyone, their process, their people, the entire bank is responsible, right? So mama මේ ළඟදී මම Facebook එකේ බල ඉන්නකොට අපි නුවර කියලා page එකක් තිබ්බා. මාතිරේ ඒ page එකට join වෙලා හිටියා. පරණ මේ හරි nostalgic feeling එකක් එනවා. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ අර පරණ නුවර පින්තූර එහෙම එක දානවා. මම ඒ group එකේ හිටියා. ඊට පස්සේ එක පිරිමි ළමෙක් ඒකේ post එකක් දාලා අහනවා මෙහෙමයි මම first time මගේ girlfriend හම්බ වෙනවා. මේ ඒ හින්දා අපි දෙන්නට නිදහසේ ගිහින් කතා කර ඉන්නවා. පොඩ්ඩක් මෙන්න මේ පැත්තේ මේ ඒරියා එකක් දාලා දෙව මට හරියට මතක නැහැ. මේ පැත්තේ හොඳ තැනක් කියන්න කියලා. නේද? එතකොට ඒකට කමෙන්ට් එකක් දාලා තිබ්බා වෙන කෙනෙක්. මේ ඔය මාතලේ මේ People's Bank branch එකට යන්න උදේ ඉඳන් හවස වෙනකන් හිටියත් ඇයි ආවේ කියලා අහන්නේ නැහැ. So I immediately got the screenshot. That's the best customer service example, right? So yes, right. I myself later, very recently, right? I myself visited one of the branch of the People's Bank. ඒක යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ වැඩකට ගියා. මට මේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ අපේ මේන් කලෙක්ෂන් account එක තියෙන ඒතොයි People's Bank එකේ. යුනිවර්සිටි එකෙන් මට ලෙටර් එකක් දුන්නා මේ ලක්ෂ 5ක හරි ඒකට equal මොකක් හරි ඒ වගේ ගානකට equivalent dollars ගේන්න කියලා. දැන් මගේ නමට ලෙටර් එක issue කළා තියෙනවා. So I went to the branch with the letter and then I gave him. Now that cashier was there and the phone was continuously ringing. Right, so that phone was continuous and he doesn't answer. You know what happened? අරක වයරකම ගලවලා දැම්මා. Right? So I'm just presume. So what will happen if I am the customer who was calling, right? So like, these are organized. These are not the individual problems. That is the culture, So that it is entire organization, right? So some learning science, අපි කියනවා ඒවට learning science කියලා. ඒක හොඳ sign එකක්. Learning science. Poor customer service, long waiting time, customer complaint, product returns, lot of grievances, turnover. Employees ලා යනවා ගොඩාක් අයින් වෙලා යනවා ඉවරයක් නෑ. Absenteeism. Absenteeism. Conflicts and disagreements. මේවා තියෙනවා so that organization. So that it's entire organization matters. Right. So overall organizational lead. For example, පුතේ තව example එකක්. හිතන්නකෝ ඔයගලන්ගේ AI introduce කරනවා. Right? So that it is an organizational strategy change. Entire organization is having the skill gap. Everyone is having the skill gap. Now, ERP implementation. Again, everyone is having a skill gap. Right? Everyone is having the skill gap. So that we call it. When the learning sign is across the organization, if the entire organization is responsible for that, then we call that's an organizational level need. Learning need. Organization level learning need. Like learning science like turnover, labor turnover, LTO, labor turnover, grievances, customer complaint, poor customer service. Right? So likewise, these things. And then we have job level or process level. We also call this one as the process level. Right? As I told, that tire fixing machine is a process level. Your manual, your procedure, your production architect, production flow, the job design, the job layout, interior operational design. So likewise, how the job is being designed is also matters your performance, right? So we have to check whether it's a job level or process level problem. Job level or process level problem, right? Right. For example, පුතේ දැන් මේ HRM subject එක තුන් දෙනෙක් කරනවානේ. මම කරනවා, රජිත කරනවා, ප්‍රොෆෙසර් දිලාක්ෂි කරනවා. මම දන්නේ මේ ප්‍රොෆෙසර් දිලාක්ෂි මම දන්නවා එයා කරන පික්ස් මොනවද කියලා. අපි ඕවර්ලැප් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි මම දන්නේ නැහැ එයාගේ content එක මොකක්ද කියලා. right? මම දන්නේ නැහැ එයා share කරන exercises මොනවද කියලා. So I don't know what the cases that she's doing. Rajitha the same. I know Rajit is doing employee relations, grievance handling, HRIS, ඒ ටික කරන්න කියලා මම දන්නවා. But I don't know what the learning teaching style. So all this thing I don't know. Right? So if there is a misalignment between three of us, right? It's a job level problem. Right? So how this sharing is being done, right? We have minimized it, right? So that's why only I'm responsible for assignment, right? I'm taking the responsibility of setting the, I'm not preparing all the questions, but final setting is done by myself. I will get question from Tilakshmi, Rajita, and I will add mine and I will do the final one, right? So that we don't do everyone, right? Assignments was done by myself, so, right? So that to be fair from the students, right? So likewise, job level. So now assume if I am the only one who is doing it, right? There are single course facilitators. In that case, no problem at all. You can tell whatever you want. You are very flexible. You have very, your freedom territory is really high, right? So it's job level, right? ඊට පස්සේ FGS එකේ පොලිසි එකක් තියෙනවා. ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඔන්ලයින් කෝස් කරාට campus එකට ඇවිල්ලා විභාගය ලියන්න ඕනේ. First time ගිය සැරේ ඔයාලා online තමයි ලියන්නේ. Right? So that this is the first time the students are coming to the university to sit for the examination. Job level. Job level. Process again. Right? So can't help. Now assume what I heard from other lecturers, your semester 1 lecturers, your performance is not good. Right? So that I even පොඩයි shape එකේ පොඩි සරල දේවල් ටිකක් කියන්න ඕන වගේ එකකට ආවා. Because in the exam, right, I can teach to a high level, but testing will be not that level, I would say, right? So that your performance is lower. Now it is a performance deficiency is a learning sign. We do the gap analysis. අපි කියන්නේ මේක ලොකුවට gap analysis එකක් කරනවා. මේ expected pass rate. Usually we expect 60 80 right? 80% pass rate එකක් අපි expect කරනවා. 5% තමයි below 40. 15% below 60 වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So that is standard, right? So 5% වලට වැඩි වුණා කියන්නේ අපිත් කැමති නෑ. Right? So we try to do something. Right? So that we can do the gap analysis. Right? Expected pass rate is 80%. Actual pass rate is 50%. එහෙමවත් තියෙනවා. 50%. So that there is a huge skill gap. Maybe this is not because of the learning participants any problem, right? This is because of the FGS problem of making the examination on site, right? So maybe like that, right? So the job level, process level problems. Sometimes it's happen, right? And then the third one is the individual level. That is individual skill gaps, right? Skill deficiencies of the employees. Right? So this is mostly it happen. Mostly 70% of the cases are individual. So skill gaps we identify with the individuals. The individual doesn't have the standard competency level that we expect to carry out the task. Right? So the competency level is not adequate to carry out the task. So that we call individual level. Right? But then, now what happened? We do this level analysis. Sometimes it may one level, right? One level of learning need. Sometimes it might be a combination. Some certain individual level gaps are there, process level gaps are there, organization level gaps are there. Especially, let's say AI integration, AI implementation, AI tool is introduced to you. Right? So at the organizational level, we don't know. Right? At the process level, we don't know. Right? At the individual level, we don't. Right? So that it is yet to experience. It is yet to experience, right? So there are gaps at all three levels. There are gaps at all three levels, right? So we then with the expected gaps and all, we decide on the training programs, right? So is the gap analysis clear? I have given all these descriptions in right. So what is general weakness in the organization is organization level, and then individual here job level, and the individual level I have given. So it's the same example I have given that I told you about NRM. So it is given here. In the level analysis, what we do, whether the learning level prevail in organization level, job level, or individual level, or in multiple levels, right? Is it clear to you? Levels, training level analysis clear to you? No?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Now, we are
Yes,
coming to the
ma'am.
second one, but usually I give you the question, conduct a learning need analysis, right? My question is like, conduct a learning need analysis. When the question was asked like this, you have to do both learning gap analysis and learning level analysis, right? Remember, I'm always giving you the scenario. I'll be giving you a particular scenario, and then based on that, you have to do the gap analysis and the level analysis, okay? Right, so I may pose some sample questions, then you can have a look, right? Okay. Now, readiness for learning is the second one. I'm not going to test this one. This is for your information, right? Okay, very important. Huh? When you do not ready, never teach. Now, you think that I'm teaching you the 3 golden rules of life at 7:15 p.m. ඔගොල්ලෝ කවුරුවත් එන්න. Because you're not ready to learn. Right? Whatever it is, you need to finish it by the time. ඒකම පොඩක් කලින් ඉවර කරන්න. එතකොට so the learning is very positive, right? It's there, right? Readiness, in the other hand, is sometimes we learning partners are our employees. They prioritize many things. අර MBA එන ළමයි අපි අහනවා ඔයා මේ ඊළඟ අවුරුදු දෙකේ ඔයා මැරි කරනවාද කියලා. නෑ කියනවා ඒගොල්ලෝ නෑ මැරි කරනවා ඒ ප්‍රශ්න නෑ. So why? Because entire weekend you have to come for the lectures for 2 years. MBA is for 2 years. We have full weekend lectures, not 1 day. Sacrificing full weekend for 2 years is a big compromise. There's a huge opportunity cost of family, right? So therefore, if they are not ready, don't do it. Not ready, don't do it. Right? And why I wanted to forcefully, I was forceful to your that nice girl, the new assistant. Because you were forgetting the first part of the section, readiness. Right? If I am teaching you another 2-3 weeks later, you might be forgetting what I told you last week. I don't want that to be happen. Right? Your readiness is there today because you are kind of fresh. Right? And also there is a concept called trainability. Then in Sri Lanka, there's an aging population. Aging population. Aging කට්ටිය. After their legal retirement, we are taking them back. So there is a process. Contract, consultancy, agree. So separate outsourcing, they take it back, right? It says when you are getting older employees, that trainability is weakening. I don't know. There's a mix put there, but I'm telling I don't know. It is a stereotypical mindset that the older workers are reluctant to learn. But it is not always the case. There are adequate enough scenarios where we can tell that all the employees are also having the same rhythm, same energy, same enthusiasm to learn as young employees, right? It is not always the thing, right? So that anyway, whether the person is trainable is also matters. Whether the person is trainable. Sometimes not trainable, but sometimes it is not trainable, right? Okay. So yes, in banks, the angry when you see a customer getting angry. කොච්චර කිව්වද ඉතින් හරියන්නේ නැහැ. angryම තමයි. So don't think negatively කියලා වැඩක් නැහැ. Whatever the positive training we are giving, still towards the life, very negative. Very negative, right? There are certain things, right? And other thing is for there when we are learning, one of the fundamental requirement is this readiness. Trying out. So that we should be able to let it go. Egoistic mindset will refrain from learning. Right? My PhD supervisor is the most influential person in my life. There are mosquitoes coming. So I respect him a lot. Right? He realized that I am a kind of a perfectionist. මට නිකන් perfect එකට වැඩ කරන්න ඕන. හරියටම so that I wanted to know what exactly my supervisor wants me to do. And then how do I meet his expectations? Right, for example, chapter writing. I'm double checking with him. What should I write first? What is the second? What is the third? Template I'm confirming, and then I ask in section 1 what should I am going to write, what I am going to write, what you want me to write. So likewise, I ask a lot of questions to make sure that I'm delivering 100% his expectations. Right? I don't want, then it's a sign that I don't want to get any uncertainty, that I want to know everything, and then I want to be perfectly deliver what is expected. Right? මගේ සුපර්වයිසර් ටක් ගාලා දැනගත්තා මගේ හැටි. එයා කිව්වා මම ඔරලෝසුව හැමදාම රිස්ට් වොච් එක හැමදාම අතේ තිබ්බ එක්කෙනෙක්. ඉස්සර හැමදාම ඔක දානවා මම නිතර වෙලාව බලනවා. එයා මුලින්ම කරපු දේ තමයි ඔය වොච් එක ගලවලා අයින් කරන්න කිව්වා. දවසේම වෙලාව බලන්න නැතුව ඉන්න කිව්වා. So mind එකෙන් කියන්නේ හිතේ ගේජ් එකෙන් දවසේ ටික කරන්න කිව්වා. So now so එදායින් පස්සේ මම තාම වොච් එකක් දාලා නැහැ. දාන්නෙත් නැහැ. I'm pretty sure I will not. So that he made me to live in chaotic. Now I'm a very perfectionist now. I wanted to be certain now. He wanted to change me. Right? He wanted to change me chaotic. Right? So that I accepted it. Right? So I wanted to know the other side of this beauty. So I'm happy that I accepted it, and I'm now enjoying this chaotic world. Right? This kind of what I'm trying to tell you is readiness for learning is about the individual is taking the responsibility of changing. Right? So change can be happen. Change can be done. Change can be done. Right? My readiness. So Sri Lankan people real, yeah. Sri Lankan people very real. ඔයාලා කතා කරලා බලන්නකොත් තුන් හතර දෙනෙක්ට. Right? The first thing is they don't accept that we are doing, we can do better. Right? We can do better. Right? Stay in the status quo. Stay in the status quo. Right? Stay in the status quo. So I experience it. Right? I really experience it. People are arguing to stay in the status quo. Right? So I would like when students are using the AI, when I really, I'm okay with it. I don't care. Right? So that's a part of life. Now AI is a learning tool. You use it. Right? So when we were studying, it was not that. It's not your problem. Right? It's a learning tool. There's a massive help you can get. Right? Use it wisely. Right? So in another 2-3 years, it will not be a problem because everyone is having it. Everyone knows how to use it. Right? Because we didn't have it. We don't know how to use it. So that we don't, people in our age thinking others should not use it. AI බලනවා check AI check කරනවා මේ අපේ යුනිවර්සිටි මම ඒකටත් විරුද්ධයි. So my standard is AI should not be checked. And we may be giving you an assignment you can do with AI. Or what Australian universities are doing, they don't give open assignments now, mostly in class assignments, right? So likewise, right? So that readiness, that acceptance, right? So that readiness and acceptance is the key, is the key. So I learn it from my supervisor. I kill all my egocentric values I had. I am accepting and respecting, and I'm open for change. Right? I can listen. I can try out. Right? Yes. So that open mindedness, I was even not had. Now I feel I am better understanding my supervisor now after 5 years of my PhD. Yeah. He told all these things 2018, 17. I finished it in 2019. Now I realize what he actually wanted me to become. Right? So like, okay, readiness for learning. Create learning environment. Right? I hate this online class. Because I can't see your faces, expressions. දන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ නිදියගෙනද ඕගොල්ලන් අර මන් දීපු අර exercise එක අර reverse කරපු එක that I did reversing of quality and defects. I don't know whether everyone did it. Right? I know some of them you did, but I don't know others. Right? If it is a physical class, I go around. Right? I go around. I check whether there's a first mover of this reversing. If I see that this is wrongly reflected, I rethink about it. Is it meaningful? Is this the way you present gap analysis? I check your books and I give a feedback. No, that doesn't happen. I don't know. So I'm just like talking to a screen. But I enjoyed these few people who talking, right? So online is not that a good learning environment because I can't see my learning partners' engagement, participation, and expressions, right? And for the learning environment matters. How do you connect your theoretical learning with the practical learning? I'm as a teacher, so then now this learning is a part of my life now. What I do, Mama Mulimma, conceptually I explain, right? I explain the concept, right? That is my first phase. And then my same thing, I give an example. පොඩි story එකක් හරි example එකක් හරි කියන ඒකට. My third way is I do an exercise. The same thing I teach. First with the conceptual explanation, second with the story or example, third with the exercise. So that some may learn when I explain. Some may learn when I give an example. Right? Some other may learn when I do the exercise, right? So that is what I believe in creating the learning environment. I trust over learning. කවදාවත් වැඩියෙන් කරන්න. right? මං watch එකක් දාන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ වුණාට මම පන්තිය වැඩි වෙන වෙලා කරන්නේත් නැහැ. Right? Okay. So likewise, the learning environment matters a lot. Right? So I don't like it. So now the transfer of learning. This is critical. This is critical. Learning transfer means දැන් මගේ head එකේ දේවල් ටිකක් තියෙනවනේ. මගේ ඔළුවේ දේවල් ටිකක් තියෙනවා. මම learning and development ගැන දන්න ටිකක් තියෙනවා. හරිද? මේ දන්න ටිකෙන් පුතේ මේ ඔක්කොම මට express කරන්න බෑ. There is certain amount of knowledge that I have in my head which I cannot express. Right? So 50% of the understanding I can tell, I can convert into words and I can tell it. But not the entire thing. So that out of the 50% knowledge that I'm trying to give, how much is transferred to your head? වගේ ඔළුවට කොච්චර ගිහින් තියෙනවා. දැන් ඕගොල්ලන් learning gap analysis එකක් මම කියලා දුන්නා. ඕගොල්ලන්ට මේක දැන් කොච්චර දුරට අවබෝධ වෙලා තියෙනවා. Right? To what extent you have the understanding of learning gap analysis. Right? But there, I'll tell you one example. You know, I got two sons. My little one, notorious guy. He always love Atama. මගේ අම්මට තමයි යා වැඩිම ආදරේ. When I asked why your Atama become the first in his list, he says the dal curry. Paripu curry එක අත්තම්මගේ. මඩප්පඩ අප්සෙට් නෙදී. මගේ ළමයා මං හදන කෑම කන්නේ නැහැ. අත්තම්මගේ වනේ කන්නේ. So that I wanted to learn from my mother. අම්මා හදන විදිහට, so that I wanted to learn. That when I was in Kandy one day, මේ අම්මට කිව්වා අම්මා ඔයා මේක මට හදන විදිහ කියලා දෙන්න. ඔයා ඔය ලිපේ හදන්න මම මේ ලිපේ හදන්න. අපි දෙන්නම හදමු කියලා. හරි. දැන් ඉතින් එයා කරන එක මම කරා. කරන දේම මම කරා. එයා මට ඔක්කොම කිව්වා. එයා මගේ අම්මනේ. එයා ඉතින් මට මොකුත් එයා හොර කරන්නේ නැහැ. So that she gives everything that she knows about making this dal curry. Right? Do you know, we ended two different texts. No wonder, right? We ended two different tastes. You know why? There's something that my mother cannot tell in words. Right? Maybe the way that the spoon is mix කරන විදිහ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මන් දන්නේ නැහැ. I don't know. So that's something. That is the accumulated knowledge that she got after 50-60 years of making the dal curry. I might be making it for මං වැඩි යන්නෙත් නැහැ. ඒ වුණාට 100 පාරක් වගේ හදලත් ඇති. Right? Not enough. My expertise is not enough. That she gathered that accumulated knowledge for about 50-60 years. I cannot take it in 1 second. In one attempt, I would say. In one attempt. Right? I have to develop my expertise within me. Right? So that is the learning transfer. That cannot be transferred. That is why I'm telling everything that I know about it, I cannot transfer. Right? Now there, you think about another example. Garage බාසුන් නැහැ. garage බාසුන් ගැන හිතන්න. ඕන ඩොක්ටර් කෙනෙක් එයාගේ කාර් එකේ පොඩි සද්දයක් එනවා කියලා යනවා garage බාසුන්නයි කෙනෙක් හම්බෙන්න. Right? So that doctor goes to see the garage basunnai because he got an some sound in the vehicle. Right? He went to the basunnai. බාසුන්නයි මොකද දොස්තර මහත්තයා ආවේ කියලා අහනවා. බාසුන්නයි මේ පොඩි සද්දයක් එනවා. ස්ටාර්ට් කරන්නකෝ. You start the car කියලා කියනවා. ඔන්න දැන් ડોක්ටර් ස්ටාර්ට් කරනවා. එන්ජින් එකේ සද්දෙන් බාසුන්නයිට කියන්න පුළුවන් what the fault is. From the hum that the engine is making, the garage basunnai can tell the what exactly the problem in the car. පුතේ, an apprentice or a mechanic or young mechanic cannot tell it. Because that ability of telling the fault in the hum that the engine is making takes time of years and years. That cannot be converted into words. Okay, that cannot be converted into words. That's why it says when a person dies, the entire knowledge base is dying. Cannot transfer to someone else. ඒකනේ කියන්නේ පුතේ අර කවියේ මොකද කියන්නේ උගත මනා සිල්පයමයි වතුර මොකද ඒකේ තියෙන්නේ සොර සතුරෙකුට ගත නොහෙනාගේ. Right? So ගන්න බෑ. Right? So part of our understanding can be converted into words. So some people are very good in conversion. Right? Some people are very good in conversion. Some are not. ඒකනේ ඔයාලා කියන්නේ අර lecturer නම් හොඳයි මෙයා කියන කිසි දෙයක් තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. ඇයි learning transfer is not happening. If the learning transfer is happening, you tell the facilitator is good. Right? Facilitator is good. Right? මේකට පුතේ දෙන්නම influence කරනවා. කියන්නේ if you are not understanding, it is partly my problem. The trainer, the facilitator is not good enough to give it. Right? On the other hand, from your side, you are not mature enough to get it. Right? Both side problems there. Right? It may be the process problem. Online delivery. Where class එක කරා නම් may be better. I don't know. Right? Process problem. Right? And environment matters. මට text එනවා මම disturb වෙනවා. අපි මේ පාරේ ත්‍රිවිල් යනවා මේ කන්දක වගේ තැනක ඉන්නේ මෙතන හයියෙන් යනකොට අර සද්ද වැඩියෙන් එනවා. disturbance ගොඩයි. ඔයාලා disturb වෙනවා. මේ ඒ ආසේ මේ මට නිදිමතක් එනවා මේ මං මෙතන juice එකකුත් බිව්වා. මේ තව තේකකුත් තියෙනවා. Right? So learning work environment matters. Right? So like transfer. So very important. Very important. පුතේ ඒක මතක තියාගන්න මේ මම මෙතන සමහර වෙලාවට මේ screenshots දාලා මේ පොඩි images දාලා තිනා. ඒක මතක තියාගන්න always. So that it will help you to make link to the concept of learning transfer. How much of learning that I know is gone to your head. Right? For example, I differentiate between learning, induction, training, and development. Right? So that whether it has gone to you. Right? Whether you can tell exactly what is training, what is development. Right? So like us. Okay. Now we come to the important one. Learning method, and this will be tested. Right? This will be tested in your examination, learning methods. For the learning methods, there are two categories. Right? One is this informational versus experiential. Right? For example, You have books. මේ පොත් තියෙනවනේ. මේ වගේ පොතක් තියෙනවා. පොතක්. මේ වගේ පොත්වල තියෙන්නේ information. A written material. Right? Written material. We call them explicit knowledge. Right? Anyone can read the book and understand information. So these are common knowledge. Right? The knowledge that are available in the books, in the written format, I would say, any written format, even in the digital formats or blog or Facebook or LinkedIn, these anyone can read, anyone can study and understand. So we call it information, right? Explicit knowledge, right? Anyone can understand it. ඔයාලා පුළුවන් ගණන් හදන පොතක අපි හිතනවා අපේ ගණන් පොත ඉස්සර maths book. They have given the exercises, sample exercises, examples. We follow the example and do the working, other exercises. Right? So likewise, we learn from the book. Right? So that kind of training method we call informational training method. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාලට දෙන්නේ කම්පැනි එකකට ගියාම මොනවද දෙන employee handbook. ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ MBS එකේ handbook එකක් තියෙනවනේ. MBS program එකේ handbook එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකේ information. ඔයගේ තියෙන බයිලෝ ටික තියෙනවා, pass fail තියෙනවා, examination offense තියෙනවා, merit දෙන්න මොකෙන්ද කියලා තියෙනවා, eligibility තියෙනවා, අනම් මොනවාද මේ curriculum එක තියෙනවා. ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. Right? So the information. And that's a lot of learning there. Right? And it is one-way communication. පුතේ මේ පොඩක් ඉන්න. It's common knowledge, right? පුතේ මේ experiential is the most important, critical one, right? Uh, uh, observations, right? පුතේ observation කියන්නේ අපි බලන් ඉන්නවා. How the others are talking, how others are behaving, how others are doing, right? Mechanics are observing the basunhe or the foreman to learn. Carpenters are observing the chief to learn. Builders are following the logo builder to learn observations. Right? So that I will tell you one example. Few weeks back, Dr. Hans Vijayasuriya came for a session. Very inspirational guy. Very inspirational. He's very down to earth. Right? He was given a lot of difficult questions. Right? Right? So what is the backup plan for internet? Why Sri Lanka is delaying going for 4G, 5G? And what is the sovereignty of Sri Lanka's AI or whatever? A lot of hard questions, right? So I was observing how he is responding, right? He was, I learned that I have seen some people when you are raising difficult questions, some are getting panic. That means you are very immature. When someone is asking a difficult question, you get panic and you become unrest, is really immature. Right? So that then we need to learn, keep calm. When there's a difficult problem, calmness is the best, right? Keep calm. What I learned from Hans, you acknowledge that is difficult. So that's something that I learned from observation, through observation, right? It's my realization, right? He told once, in your last question, you gave me a half headache. And now with this question, you gave me another headache. Now already I'm with 1.5 headaches. Right. So that's, he didn't tell that the question is difficult, but he narrated it in a very beautiful way. Oh, you gave me a headache. Right. So it's a nice way of acknowledging. Beautiful. Right. I observe. Right. And there was another thing that I learned from him through observation. පුතේ දැන් ඔයාලට උගන්වනකොට දැන් මම ෆලෝ කරන්නේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට පොඩි තැනක ඉඳන් ලොකු තැනකට අරන් යන. ඒ කියන්නේ ස්මෝල් ෆැක්ට් එකක් කියනවා. ඒකේ කනෙක්ෂන් එක ලොකුවට කියලා දෙනවා. ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එක කියනවා. ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එකේ ප්‍රැක්ටිකල් සිනාරියෝ එකට ලින්ක් කරනවා. So that I may start with the roots, concepts, terms, and then I develop step by step and link it with the practice. What I noticed from Hans is he start from the practice. He start from the practice and come to the roots. Then I thought, there's another way of doing it. I'm trying out now. Right? I'm trying out. Right? So likewise, observation. And right now I'm trying to tell you, you all as learners, we all as learners, everyone is a learner. Take this observation as a learning point. Observation will be the best route of learning, right? Yes, right. So our අම්මගෙත් පරිප්පු කාරියක් ඉගෙන ගන්න observation කරනවා. හරි. පොඩ බලන් ඉන්නලා මාමම කරලා ඉගෙන ගන්න. Right? So information versus experiential. Right? Information versus experiential. Right? Okay. So that I'm not that much bothered about. Now, but I was not able to tell you. Informational methods are important for explicit knowledge. That means written knowledge. Experientials are for tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge කියන්නේ පුතේ intangible. ඒක intangible unwritten knowledge. Intangible unwritten unexpressed. I would say unexpressed. කියන්නත් බෑ, ලියන්නත් බෑ, කියන්නත්. Unexpressed knowledge. Right, so like that. Okay. Right, so that මේක තමයි main point. අරගෙන අහන්න නෑ වැඩියම ප්‍රශ්න. So this will be tested. On the job and off the job. කියන්න බලන්න මට on the job methods. එවන්න chat එකේ කියන්න. On the job methods. What are the on the job learning methods? Yes.
Recruit as a trainee and give the training.
Internship. Is it? Management training. Okay. What are the other methods? Yeah, on the job training කියන්න. බෑන්ක් එකේ ෆ්‍රන්ට් ලයින් එකේ අද ඉන්නවා ATM එකේ හෙට ඉන්නවා කස්ටමර් සර්විස් එකේ හෙට ඊළඟ දවසේ ඉන්නවා කැෂියර් එකේ ඊළඟ දවසේ ඉන්නවා තව තැනක මොකක්ද ඒක?
Job rotation.
Job rotation. Job rotation. Right, පුතේ. Mentoring, coaching,
Inquiry handling.
understand.
Inquiry handling. customer inquiry handling, then automatically getting knowledge.
Yes.
Dialogue.
Expert team work. Expert team work. It might be inquiry. It can be whatever it is. Grievance handling committees or whatever it is. Expert teamwork. Yes. Diverse, expert and cross-functional. Expert, cross-functional. Okay. Teamwork. Foreign training, right? That's also there. Special project, that's also there. Simulations. Probation. So likewise, right? So what are the off-the-job training? Off-the-job training? Off-the-job?
E-learning.
E-learning, we call it virtual learning. Virtual or e-learning. හරි. ඔක්කොම education programs ඒවා. දවල් MBS එකත් off the job. Education qualifications, professional qualifications, licensing, patent, seminar, workshop. පුතේ OBT කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? OBT
Outbound training.
yes, outbound training, lectures. So all these off the job, right? So you should be able to have list of at least 10-15 off the job, 10-15 on the job training methods, right? So that very important. On the job means you are getting the training while you are doing the job. Off the job means you don't do the job when you are studying, like this today, right? You don't do the job. No, I don't know whether you are at the office or doing your work. मैं දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ office එකේ email යවනවා දන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් මම මෙතන කෑ ගහන ගම. එහෙනම් ඉතින් on the job තමයි. Okay. හරි. දැන් මට මේ ටික කියන්න බෑ. මේ මොකද්ද? මේ පළවෙනි එක මොකද්ද පුතේ? First one. ठाकर क्या?
Explicit training.
Mega? Self learning. Right? That funny mega self learning. Mega? Oops. දෙවෙනි එක මේක?
Virtual training.
Virtual එක මේක පුතේ. මේක?
Team working, right?
Role play. Role playing. Right? So virtual training. මේක mentoring coaching වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Seminar workshop වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මේක මොකක්ද අන්තිම එක? This one.
Mentoring.
What is this? මේක mentoring or coaching.
On the job.
මේක මේ මොකක්ද?
On training
අපද?
On the job.
and on.
ඒක category එකක් method එකක් නෙමෙයි. On the job training is a category, not a particular technique. Understood? මොකද්ද මේ particular technique එක? Carpenters ලා ඉගෙන ගන්න.
And on training.
මේ auditors ලා කොහොමද ඉගෙන ගන්නේ? Mechanics ලා කොහොමද ඉගෙන ගන්නේ? Technicians ලා කොහොමද ඉගෙන ගන්නේ?
Observing seniors.
ඒකට මොකද්ද කියන method එක පුතේ? There's a particular nice word for that.
Then is
Hands-on
that
training.
hand-on training?
Hands-on training. නෑ.
Skill training.
apprentice. ලියාගන්න එක. apprentice. මේ ලොකු ඇස්සක් එනවා. apprentice training. It's a big crane here. apprentice training පුතේ ඒක ලියාගන්න. හරි. on the job on the job එක. ඒකට අර German tech එකේ කට්ටිය ඉගෙන ගන්න. German tech එකේ එළියට ආපුවාම wow. ඔය දන්නවනේ German tech එකේ ඉස්සර මේ ඔය හොඳටම ඉගෙන ගනිද්දි මේ ඒකෙන් එළියට එන කට්ටියට ඕන ජොබ් එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඔය ජොබ් එක කියන්නේ මේ ඔටෝ ඕනම automotive technically they are very sound. That's why earlier used to be Australian companies taking the entire batch in the permanent residence visa. PR visa එකෙන් ගන්නවා මුළු batch එකම. ඩුබායි වලටත් එහෙමයි. ඒගොල්ලෝ නම් PR වලින් ගත්තේ නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ PR ගන්න නැහැ. නිසා ඒගොල්ලෝ lifetime work visa එකෙන් ගන්නවා ඩුබායි. අර මොනවාද ඔය ලොකු වල තියෙන්නේ. ඩුබායි වල තියෙන මේවා ඒවට ගන්න. පුතේ ඊට පස්සේ මේ ජර්මන් ටෙක් එකේ සර්ටිෆිකේට් ජර්මන් ටෙක් එකට අඩියවත් තියපු නැති මිනිස්සුන්ට රුපියල් 50000ට දෙන්න කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒ සර්ටිෆිකේට් අරගෙන අර වගේ රටවල් වලට ගියා. You know, when someone is coming from Sri Lanka from German tech certificate, Australian automotive company, they do not train you again. They just give you the job. At the very first day even, they just give you the job to do. Right? And these guys work on the job, they are unable to perform. Right? And then there was a special team coming from Australia to they did a big investigation and they found the certificates are freely available to, certificate, fake certificate, whatever the corruptions are taking place. Then you know, they blacklisted this. And they don't offer PR. You know now what happened even for genuine completion people. Australian people means Australian experts are coming to India. They are running their own workshops, right? Then Sri Lankan applicant has to go to India, paying by their expenses. They have to go to India. They have to pay for those who are coming from Australia, the workshop running, assessment, everything they have to pay, and they have to do the work, whatever prescribed by these Australian assessors, and get the positive skill assessment, right? So now, with very restricted and that glory was not there. That glory was not there. Apprentice. So that's a sad story. Okay, right? So that this there, and then we come to the last one. Learning evaluation. This you may have learned this one even previously. Learning evaluation and monitoring. Put them මෙහෙමයි. We started this process. My internet is මගේ camera එක off කරනවා. We started this process by identifying this gap. No, we started our process by identifying this gap, right? Now we created the learning environment, we make the learning transfer, we choose right learning methods, right? And then we deliver it, right? Then we have to check whether now this gap has been bridged, whether this gap is not there now, whether how much it is being filled, still the same, whether the gap is still the same, whether it is bridged, if so, how much it is bridged. So that we have to make, that's will determine whether our training program is effective or not, right? So therefore, when we are at the end of the training design process, we have to do a proper analysis of whether the training program, training initiatives we implemented was able to bridge the skill gap, right? For that, there is a famous common tool we call Kirkpatrick model, because this one was introduced by the Donald Kirkpatrick. Kirkpatrick කියලා අපි කියනවා. This Donald Kirkpatrick's model with the 4 areas. This is like a triangle. Make a triangle එකක් විදියට තියෙන්නේ. පුතේ මේකේ පළවෙනි level එක තමයි reaction. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ලේලින් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එක ඉවරච්ච ගමන්ම දෙන්නේ අර ෆීඩ්බැක් ෆෝම් එක. ඔයගොල්ලන් කැමතිද රිසෝස් පර්සන් කොහමද, වෙනිව් එක කොහමද, ටයිම් එක කොහමද, කැම්ප් කොහමද, ලර්නින් මටීරියල් කොහමද, කන්ටෙන්ට් එක කොහමද, සපෝට් එක කොහමද, ලර්නින් එන්වයරන්මන්ට් එක කොහමද, එහෙම කිය අපි අහනවා. Right? ඒ ඔක්කොම reaction. What feeling you have, what experience you gained in the particular training program. Your immediate reaction, right? Whether you like it or whether you dislike it, right? I'll teach evaluation වගේ තමයි. Whether you like it or not, reaction, immediate reaction. ඔයගොල්ලෝ මොනවා හොඳයි කිව්වත් මොනවද හොඳ නැහැ කියලා කියන්නේ. කියන්න බෑ. ඔය immediate reaction එකේ ඔක්කොටම හොඳයි කිව්වත් එක දෙයකට හොඳ නැහැ කියන මොකක්ද? Sri Lankan? Food. How was the food? Not that good. No? Very difficult to satisfy Sri Lankans with the food, right? Okay, reaction. So that's immediate feeling, immediate experience. Then the learning. That means your conceptual understanding, right? Now we finish learning and development today. You should know the 7-step model of learning and development. Learning need analysis. We have to do 2 steps, learning gap and the learning level analysis. Right. On the job and off the job methods. Learning strategies, skilling, reskilling, upskilling, these things. Learning strategy mapping. Whether you know the concepts, right? Whether you know the concept. ඒකෙදි බලන්න පුතේ learning transfer එක වෙලාද. මගේ ඔළුවේ තිබ්බ දැනුම ඕගලන්ගේ ඔළුවට ගිහිල්ලාද? Learning, right? The knowledge that I had in my head as a facilitator has been transferred to your head. How much? Right? How much? Right? Then the next one, පුතේ, whether there is any behavioral change. අර මං කිව්වේ මගේ supervisor කිව්වා Mari, you can't work like this. Try to stay in chaotic. අර watch එක දාන්න නැහැ. මම watch එක දාන්න නැහැ. මේ මගේ ඔයාලා මාව පේන්නේ නැහැනේ. මේ මගේ කොණ්ඩේ ඔක්කොම සුදු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. මේ කොණ්ඩේ කළු කරන්නේ නැහැ. right? ඒ ඔක්කොම මගේ supervisor එකකින් හම්බෙච්ච ඒ කියන්නේ it's a natural setting. ඒ කියන්නේ so that they change even the way we think, the way we look at the world. That kind of mentoring is taking place. Do a PhD, yeah? Do a PhD, right? Not because you want your qualification. Not because you want your qualification. Not because you want 3 letters and doctor in the front, right? That because you will become definitely a different person, which I loved most, right? I truly loved the person I became after my PhD, right? So if possible, you do. If possible, you go to some other country and do it, right? I'm wondering whether that kind of mentoring is available here with the Sri Lankan supervisors. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe, I'm not sure. I may be wrong, right? So, but I love the process I went through and the person who am I today, right? And I'm grateful for the everyone who helped me in the process, right? So likewise, the behavioral change, right? ඒ කියන්නේ පුතේ මෙහෙම එකක්. සරලව. Now you think, now I am a person who always miss the deadlines. Deadline හැම එකම miss කරනවා. Last 6 months තිබ්බ deadline එක deadline වල 80%ක් I missed. So that my learning gap is significant. Serious. Right? So therefore my company sent me a time management workshop එකට දැම්මා. Training එකට දැම්මා. ඒකෙදි මම ඉගෙන ගත්තා there's a prioritization tool. There's something called prioritization tool. ඒක තමයි මගේ learning එක. හොඳේ? ඒක මගේ learning එක. There is something called prioritization rule. Right? ඉස්සර මම ඒක කරේ නැහැ. මොනවාද important ඒවා මොනවාද urgent ඒවා මොනවාද not important ඒවා මොනවාද not urgent ඒවා කියලා බලලා important urgent ටික මුලින්ම කරන ඒ වගේ ඒවා ඉස්සර කරේ නැහැ. හැබැයි දැන් මම කරනවා. That is my behavioral change. Right? That is my behavioral change. Earlier, I was randomly doing the things. Now I make my attention to important urgent things. Behavioral change. Because of that, results, how many deadlines I missed after the post-training. Right? How many deadlines I missed post-training. Results. Earlier 80%, now only 10% I'm missing. Huge improvement. 10%. Results on the performance, impact on the performance, right? I will tell you another example. There is a banking assistant in a bank, middle-aged, always getting angry with the customers. There are a lot of customer complaints, right? So that we give a training on dealing with difficult customers. So that when you are having a difficult customer, you know what is the best solution, the best response? Calm. Silent as a strategy. අපි ඒක තමයි මුලින්ම කියන්නේ. Calm down, smile. එච්චරයි පළවෙනි step එක එච්චරයි. When you see a difficult customer, calm down, smile. මුකුත් කියන්නේ නැහැ. අපි මේ එකට කියන්නේ angry වෙලා අපි මේ argue කරන්නේ නැහැ. When a difficult person comes, never argue. Right? Calm down, smile. එච්චරයි. පළවෙනි step එක එච්චරයි. ඊට පස්සේ so that listen. Listen and silent. Listen and silent. Listen and silent. Okay. Right. So that is learning. Right? Calm down, smile. Listen and silent. Right? And the third one is place to manager. Place to manager. Place to manager. Or direct manager. Right? Direct to manager. Right? Many steps පහ අපි කියලා දෙනවා. Yes, that is learning. Right? Behavior means now after the training, post-training, when there is a difficult customer comes, how this employee is behaving. Whether calm down, still get angry, or whether listening, whether silent, right? Whether the silent strategy is performing. අපි ඒකට කියන පුතේ performing silence. ඒක ඉගෙන ගන්න හොඳ strategy එකක්. මාරයි. Magic එකක් වගේ එකක්. So you can solve many problems with your silent strategy, right? We call it performing silence. We deliberately, intentionally perform silence. Hmm. 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 Good point. Kira silent. I'm good can. No criticism, no acceptance. Right? Performing silence. Right? Very good. Results. Now, how many customer complaints after training? Right? Okay. Right? So that is the same thing I have given here. Reaction is whether you like it. Learning is whether the learning transfer is occurring. මෙතන impact කියන්නේ behavior තමයි. මෙතන තියෙන පුතේ මේ change in behavior. So whether there's any change in behavior. Results is whether there's any influence in the performance. Expected outcomes. Right? So these are the 4 levels of Kirkpatrick model. Right? So that's it. From learning and development, do you have any questions to ask? So that testing areas will be learning strategy mapping, learning need assessment, learning methods, and monitoring and evaluating the learning program. Right? පුතේ මෙහෙමයි එක පොඩි සිනාරියෝ එකක් දෙන්නේ. හරිද? පොඩි සිනාරියෝ එකක් දීලා ඔය questions ටික දෙන්නේ sub questions විදිහට 25 marks. One question with 4 sub questions. Okay? Do you have any questions?
Excuse me, madam.
Yeah.
In that learning design process, the fifth stage, developing an evaluation plan.
ඒ දෙකම එකතු කරලා පුතේ. මේ දෙකම එකතු කරලා. අන්තිම එකයි මේකයි දෙකම එකයි.
Okay, all right. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, okay. ගොඩක් ඉන්න. මේක මේ sample questions බලන්න මේ මගේ විදිහේ මේ මම මේ වෙන group එකකට දීප එක මේ වගේ තමයි. මේක දැන්න නෑනේ. මේ තියෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ වගේ තමයි දෙන්නේ. මේ පුතේ අර DFCC එකයි Standard Chartered Bank එකයි merge වුණානේ. ඒක ගැන දීපු question එක තමයි මම සාමාන්‍ය real ඒවා දෙන්නේ. හැමතිස්සෙම මම ඔය සාමාන්‍ය IFS එකේ අර AI integration එක දැම්මේ ළඟදී ඒවට දැම්මා. ඊට පස්සේ අර NDB එකේ cyber frauds ඒවා ඒ වගේ realistic situation එකක් තමයි I will be giving a very realistic situation with the names with their company names I'm giving so that these are some of the questions. මේ තියෙන පුතේ ඒ වගේම තමයි learning need assessment එකක් කරන්න on the job off the job methods suggest කරන්න මේ තියෙන learning evaluation measurable evaluation strategies මේ වගේ question එකක් තමයි එන්නේ හොඳේ. තව මොන හරි දෙනව නෑනේ. Yes, so likewise. Similar question like that. So yes. Okay, so with that then I will finish. ඊට පස්සේ මට කරන්න තියෙන performance management එක. ඒකත් සති දෙකක් යනවා. මොකද මුල් ටික performance management process එකට යනකන් ගන්නලා ඊට පස්සේ මම performance අර KPI setting ඊට පස්සේ performance assessment techniques ටික කියලා දෙන්න තව දවසක් යනවා අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම. So that I'll be taking 2 days for performance management. එතකොට 4 days යනවා. පුතේ ඊට පස්සේ assessment එක ඒක assessment එකනේ තියෙන්නේ ඊට පස්සේ DI වල. ඒක මම තියාගන්න ඊළඟ දවසේ assessment අන්තිම week එකේ කරමු in class assessment එක. So I'll be taking 1 day maybe 2 days, maybe I don't know whether next week is available. 2 days for performance management and then later date for your assessment. So that's my plan. Okay. Right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Madam. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.